In the headlines, 5 more victims of AK-9 Kaduna-Abuja train regained freedom on Tuesday. Gombe PDP asked court to disqualify Governor Inuayahaya and deputy. Former President Olusegun laments high cost of diesel. And on the foreign scene, China restricts trade with Taiwan amid tensions over Pelosi's visit. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. 5 more victims of AK-9 Kaduna-Abuja train regained their freedom on Tuesday. It is, however, not clear if any money was paid to the terrorists to release their abducted victims. The security agencies and the federal government are yet to confirm the development, but a member of the negotiating team, Tukurmamu, told newsmen that the victims were released on Tuesday. He gave the names of the 5 released hostages as Professor Mustafa Umar Imam, who is a medical doctor at Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, Akibu Lawal, Abubakar Ahmed Rufai, Mukhtar Shaibu, and Sidi Aminu Sharif.
Because there was barely food for people to eat. We were hungry for the last three and a half months. We were quite surprised in the last 2 weeks. They actually, they started bringing food stuff that we ate, and we were actually okay in the last 2 weeks. But then for the first 3.5 months, we were actually very, very, very hungry. And when I say very hungry, this is an understatement. There were days that we go, just eating once. We ate once on certain days. And just imagine there are children that are barely 1 year, a child that is barely 1 year old and a 90-year-old person feeding once a day. Just do the math. When you talk about medication, I literally was the medical doctor on camp. I was treating the captives as well as the bandits, or I would say Boko Haram members. There wasn't medication. To be very frank with you, we heard on the radio somebody was claiming that they would bring medication whenever it was needed. There wasn't any medication on camp. We could go days. There was a day that a particular lady who had malaria. So malaria, you could treat malaria with 1,000 naira. But this lady literally was going into coma because there wasn't medication for her. There wasn't medication for her malaria. So the situation is really, really terrible. Really. I personally did not experience any molestation, but then some women on camp would claim that there were attempts at molestation. But I personally did not experience this. And this happened in the first 1 to 2 weeks after we were held captive.
President Muhammadu Buhari has said the challenges of insecurity across the globe cannot be contained by one single country. The president said this on Tuesday while receiving letters of credence of Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador James Kingston Christoph, and Ambassador of Mexico to Nigeria, Juan Alfred Miranda Oritz. Buhari, who hailed collective efforts of nations towards tackling security challenges across the globe and within Nigeria, called for more collaboration to check terrorism, banditry, and insurgency. In his remarks on behalf of the ambassadors, the Canadian High Commissioner thanked the President for the ceremony of accepting the letters of credence and assured that they will work closely with ministers and officials to start a progressive relationship.
Working with other member states of ECOWAS and other regional blocs to deal with the problems of terrorism, trans-border crimes, maritime crimes such as piracy and illegal fishing on our waters, illicit drug and human trafficking, banditry, as well as unconstitutional changes of government. I believe that matters of security have become the business of all nations, as these challenges go beyond the abilities of any single country to effectively contain. The world must therefore work closely together, and Nigeria counts on your support in cementing the relations between our countries at both bilateral and multilateral levels to surmount these global threats to civilization.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has ended a one-week-long campaign against online trafficking in persons and the use of technology by traffickers to recruit victims. This year's theme focused on the role of technology as a tool that can both enable and impede human trafficking. The report.
The awareness campaign kicked off on the 26th of July with an expose on recent methods adopted by traffickers to lure victims for the purposes of organ harvesting, sexual exploitation, and forced labor. Director General NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, said there have been a rise in the use of social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and others for the recruitment of victims of trafficking. The event is attended by different foreign nations in Nigeria, NGOs partnering with NAPTIP, security agencies, and students in some tertiary institutions in the country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, here represented, congratulated NAPTIP and other stakeholders on the milestone achieved so far, adding that fighting human trafficking is a collective responsibility.
The day is set aside specially to raise awareness on the agony of human trafficking victims, promote and protect the rights of such victims, and mobilize political will and resources to address trafficking in persons as a problem of global concern.
The Vice President also speaks about 3 policy documents that will serve and stir important conversations and reduce cases of human trafficking in Nigeria. Track. A participant who is also the Executive Director of Women Trafficking and Child Labor Eradication Foundation, WATCLAF, Imabong Ladipo Sanusi, speaks on the challenges encountered when dealing with issues of human trafficking in Nigeria.
I'm certain that these policy documents will continue to set the agenda on important conversations and to streamline activities towards the interruption and reversal of human trafficking.
We've heard so much that parents, guardians, and families even sell off properties to make sure that their victims, their children, go out of the country. They don't know what they go through. They don't understand that where they are going, the grass is never green. On the other side, it is green where you water it. The issue of coming back with mental health problems and become dysfunctional, that is very painful.
This year's theme focuses on the role of technology as a tool that can both enable and impede human trafficking. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And to health matters now, the Gombe state government has confirmed 3 cases of monkeypox out of the 19 cases reported to the state's Ministry of Health. The Commissioner for Health, Habu Dahiru, disclosed this to newsmen on Tuesday. Dahiru said all 3 confirmed cases have since been treated and discharged from the hospital. He said the ministry has activated an incident management system with full responsibilities for surveillance and effective response aimed at controlling the outbreak. He listed the symptoms as fever, headache, body pain, weakness, lymph node swelling, as well as body rashes that start from the face and subsequently spread to other parts of the body, including the palms and soles of the feet. And to politics now, where the Gombe State PDP has asked the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court to disqualify Governor Inuwa Yahaya and Deputy Governor Jato Daniel from contesting in the 2023 governorship election. The party accused the duo of submitting forged certificates. The PDP and its governorship candidate, Mohammed Barde, sought disqualification in a suit between PDP and 2 others against the INEC and others. On behalf of the plaintiffs, the party relied on a series of Supreme Court decisions in an originating summons filed by 2 senior advocates of Nigeria, Arthur Okafor and J.J. Usman. The PDP argued that Messrs. Yahaya and Jato, having deposed to forms EC9, the said forms constituted certificates, and making a false statement in them amounted to submitting forged certificates. This, according to the party, is a disqualifying ground under Section 177D and Section 182, subsection 1J of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In the court process, the plaintiffs alleged that Jatto bore multiple names, Manasa Jatto, on his certificates, including his primary education certificate. The plaintiffs further contended that the deputy governor, who claimed to have worked with the Nigerian army from August 1979 to July 1980, submitted an NYSC discharge certificate with contrary information. The plaintiffs alleged that the NYSC discharge certificate indicated that Jatto commenced his NYSC in August 1979 and completed his service in July 1979. No date has been fixed for hearing in the suit. And still talking politics, governors on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, on Tuesday met the party presidential candidate Bola Tinubu in his Lagos residence. Appointment of Director General of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Organization topped the agenda of the meeting. Names of former chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, and Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai have featured as chairman and Director General. El-Rufai, who briefed newsmen after the meeting, confirmed that a decision has been taken on the DG, while other positions in the campaign council are still being discussed. The former minister of the Federal Capital Territory said the governors were in Lagos to report on the assignment given to them by Tinubu and his running mate to begin a broad consultation and develop a structure for the Presidential Campaign Council. Other governors who attended the meeting were Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano, Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi, Abubakar Badaru of Jigawa, Bello Matawalle of Zamfara, and Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos. APC National Secretary Senator Oyala Omishore, Adams Oshomole, and Kabiru Masari also attended the meeting. You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come after the break, what gives you access to the reopened Millennium Park? Details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
Now which kind wire you gonna need to light up your light? Oh man, na quality wire. Now which kind cable you gonna need to light up your house? Oh man, na quality cable. Coleman quality. Coleman wire. Coleman durable. Coleman cable. Coleman can't. Coleman cable for any kind of project. Come and be the come and see, come and see. Come and be the Coleman won't light up your light. Come and be the come and see. Come and be the COLEMAN. Quality, quality. Durable. Now come and be the Baba.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now, a recap of our top stories. 5 more victims of AK-9 Kaduna Abuja train regained their freedom on Tuesday. And Gombe PDP asks court to disqualify Governor Inuwa Yahaya and deputy. And in other news now, Nigerian students have been reacting to the extension of the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, by another 4 weeks. Musa Luka reports that the extension is seen by some students as an act of insensitivity by the federal government and the union to the plight of students. The report.
News of the 4-week extension broke on Monday after 5 months of the action, which began on 14 February this year. President of the union, Emmanuel Oshodeke, who disclosed this via a statement on Monday, said the decision was to give the government enough time to resolve all outstanding issues with the lecturers. The prolonged strike has made some students look for part-time jobs as alternatives, while others remain idle. Some students residing within Abuja told Trust TV what they have been doing since the beginning of the strike.
I'm currently doing video editing though, but that's not what I signed up for. It's due to this ASU strike. I had to get into that. It's not fair.
This strike isn't really affecting me, but it's quite disturbing because I'm a final year student and just few signatures left and I should be a graduate. And I don't know why I should still be at home by this time doing nothing. Okay, apart from the work that I'm doing, if I don't have a job, what of others that don't have a job? What would they be doing in their houses? Like people like us that are final year students, what should we be doing? Just sitting down doing nothing.
Some parents lamented the impact of the strike on their budget and expressed the hope that the strike will be called off soon.
It affects us parents very much because by now my children are supposed to have graduated, but 3 of them are still at home since two supposed to graduate last year, and due to all this incessant strike here and there of ASU. And there is nothing we can do. We cannot fight government, but it's very unfortunate for what we are experiencing in our country.
The ASU strike is affecting the whole region, precisely as in a taxi. Like my junior one in school, they have been abandoned in the village. They have been abandoned there. Nothing for them, no school, nothing. I mean, so it's also affecting us that sponsor them, believing that okay, with so time I think we might have done with this one, and then know 1 or 2 things to forge ahead with.
Many believe that the heightened insecurity in the country may not be unconnected to the strike, as the many idle hands of Nigerian youth may just have been employed, albeit negatively. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Federal Capital Territory's foremost recreational spot, the Millennium Park, has reopened almost 2 years after the Mohammed Bello-led FCT administration shut down activities in order to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. To access the reopened park, fun lovers will have to present COVID-19 vaccination cards or take an on-the-spot COVID jab for those who are yet to be vaccinated. The report.
Established over 2 decades ago, Abuja's Millennium Park has been the go-to spot for outdoor fun seekers in the nation's capital. The park was, however, closed as part of efforts to contain the outbreak of COVID-19 in the FCT. Popular for cinematography, events, parties, among other social activities, the Millennium Park left operators and businesses linked to its operation counting losses due to its temporary closure.
Since then, we are in hardship. The park, this is where we earn our living as a photographer. At least when we come, we get home with small thing. But since the lockdown, over some years now, we are trying to survive, no way. But we thank God that the FCT minister came yesterday and opened the park. We pray God will give us our own.
It makes me really happy, actually, and the kids, of course, too, because Abuja is not offering so much or so many places to spend vacation or have a nice afternoon. So therefore, we just heard about the announcement that it's reopened, and suddenly checked it out, and really happy that Natura opened it again. Yeah.
Although operations in the park have been restored and patronage gradually gaining boost, the quest to eradicate the spread of COVID-19 in a public place is still paramount for the FCT administration, as access requires compulsory vaccinations or presentation of vaccination cards. Meanwhile, there are calls on the park's management to maintain hygiene, provide services and initiate activities that are easily accessible to the public.
We look forward to keep coming here and for it to remain as clean as it is now and as taken care of as it is now. And just take care of it, keep it maintained, and we're very happy to keep coming back. It's beautiful to have this freedom of being able to do what we want in an open space, but just keep it clean and have some accessible bathrooms and just somebody who's selling some drinks and it would be fine.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's really cool to be outside and not the whole time in the house, and it's cool to go with the dog out, and there's so much place you can play with him, and yeah, it's really cool.
Upon its reopening, the FCT administration commended the management of the park for upholding the park's international standards with regulations on opening and closing time, perimeter fence, lights, security and toilets, among others, in line with the FCT park policy. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has lamented the rising cost of diesel, saying it has adversely affected his fish business. Speaking during the Southwest Fish Farmers Congress on Tuesday at the Presidential Library in Ogun State, the former president said the high cost of diesel may turn fish farmers to bankruptcy. Putting the current price of diesel at 800 naira a litre, the ex-president said the production of a kilogram of fish is 1,400 naira. He said farmers must not sell less than 1,500, as anything short of that would lead to outright loss. According to the former president, fish production will be out of reach, and then people will be producing fish outside Nigeria and dump it here.
The price of diesel has gone sky high, and it will continue to go sky high because the management of the economy of this country is not what it should be. And it's as simple as that. And what will happen is that particularly those of us who have to use a bit of diesel in producing fish, we will completely go bankrupt. And when that happens, Nigerians will still have to eat fish.
Now for a look at the foreign scene, where China has restricted its trade with Taiwan amid elevated tensions over the United States House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to the democratically ruled island. Chinese Commerce and Customs authorities said on Wednesday they had halted exports of sand, a key material used in construction, and imports of Taiwanese citrus fruit and some types of fish. China's General Administration of Customs said the food imports were halted due to the presence of pesticide and the coronavirus in some shipments, while the Ministry of Commerce said it had suspended sand exports in line with unspecified legal provisions. The announcements come as Pelosi conducts a high-profile visit to Taiwan, despite Beijing warning of serious consequences should the veteran Democratic politician make the trip. And finally, in sports, Team Nigeria increased its medal haul at the ongoing Commonwealth Games in Birmingham with 2 podium finishes in women's discus event. Chioma Onyekwere won gold in the women's discus with a distance throw of 61.7 meters, as Obiageri Amechi wins bronze with a distance throw of 56.99 meters in the same competition. Team Nigeria now has a total of 8 medals, comprising of 3 gold, 1 silver, and 4 bronze medals. Now let's join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports news.
The 2022 edition of the Bauchi Polo Club, in conjunction with Nigerian Polo Federation MPF Polo Tournament, galloped off on Monday at Colin A.D. Umar Retired Polo Ground in Bauchi. The polo teams will compete for honors in 4 different entries in the polo event that will last 6 days before winners emerge. The major trophies are grouped into 4, namely Sarikin Fulani Cup, Tafawa Balewa Cup, Emirates Cup and Governors Cup. 6 teams competed on the opening day with much display to the admiration of polo fans in 3 games. In Match 1, MMD Polo Ranch defeated Bauchi Ubandawaki 5-2 in Match 2. A&O Farms 2 lost 3-4 against Max Green, while the third match saw Percentage scored 4 unreplied goals against A&O Farms 1. Organizers hope to use the event to attract more participants, especially the younger ones within and outside Nigeria, to go into polo sport. Assistant Secretary General, Nigerian Polo Federation, who doubles as Secretary Bauchi Polo Club, Haruna Ningi, says polo sport needs sponsorship for the sport to grow as more people will go into polo, if well harnessed.
Polo, yes, when you call polo, people will think that no, until when you have money you can play polo. No. Polo is a game of passion. It's the only sport that you can spend millions of naira and you can get trophy of maybe 150,000. So it's a game of passion. It's just passion, and everything with horse, everything associated with horse is a passion. So I call on people of Bauchi, the surrounding area, to come and watch the game. Horse generally is originated from the north. So I see no reason why people would come and invest in this game. So I call on investors to come and invest in follow games, so at least to attract more players. It's a game we are spending a lot of money. And with any sport in the world, there's not any sport where there's no sponsorship. But I just in Bauchi, like Bauchi Secretary is sponsoring the tournament. Although even the government now, they have plenty of responsibilities. So at least the private sectors will support the government so that the game will continue.
Action continues in the 6-day event with teams across Nigeria participating at Bauchi Polo Tournament.
And that wraps up Trans TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.